Know what's crazy? XRP has spent the last month essentially stuck sideways. The problem is that announcement after announcement keeps coming in. I'm referring to some very amazing things that are taking place in the XRP ecosystem, as well as the increasing number of real-world applications for XRP. But this is what really astounds me. The majority of individuals remain quite negative about XRP. They are currently pessimistic about the entire cryptocurrency market because, let's face it, the recent price action has been somewhat erratic and dull. Those recent highs are simply not being broken through. Check this out then. The chart for XRP is screaming at me when I look at it. We appear to have a giant flag pattern that is essentially waiting for a big breakthrough situation. Speaking about the larger market, Bitcoin is currently trading at over $113,000. Since Bitcoin has the potential to be the start of something significant, I'm keeping a close eye on it. Additionally, altcoin season is still improving, currently standing at 54 out of 100. However, since I have been stating the same thing for the past year, I really want to focus on XRP. This is a completely crazy setup. Bullish indications are screaming up and down the chart. Look, it's rather obvious what we're dealing with when you zoom out and take a close look at what's happening here. Similar to what happened back then after we peaked in January. We're essentially just sitting in this choppy price action, waiting for that big impulsive move to finally appear on the chart. We've been chopping around for forever. In reality, the entire thing was a massive flag pattern that sprang upward. We went straight to $3.65 after that breakout. And you know what? Right now, we're witnessing the exact same scenario, albeit with a smaller period structure. The problem is that until this next significant breakthrough occurs, this still indicates that we're going to hit $4 and higher. What then is actually behind this positive trend in XRP? Just consider all that has transpired over the last many months. And I'm not just referring about news drops that are particular to XRP. The ecosystem as a whole is expanding rapidly, supporting all real-world apps that use the XRP ledger and talk about tokenization, payments, and on-chain foreign exchange operations. Everything that we are now seeing supports XRP's initial goal of becoming the real internet of value. What's truly exciting, though, is this. We continue to observe an increasing number of adoptions. Consider the XRP listing on mbx.com. You would think that by now XRP would be widely available, wouldn't you? As it happens, it is not at all the case. In fact, XRP was recently added to this exchange. The fact that it's actually catering to the Norwegian market, which we all assumed was already oversaturated with XRP choices, despite being a lower tier platform, absolutely astounds me. Not at all. Therefore, it's fantastic to note that XRP's market is still growing. This information is important because it simply means that more liquidity is entering the market, that more trade volume is passing through the system, and that XRP itself will eventually gain greater value. It's incredibly thrilling to watch. We can cross that exchange listing off the list for XRP too. There's more though. Some amazing data were just released by the CME group. In fact, interest in XRP futures contracts has soared above $1 billion. And take this. It took little over 3 months to reach that milestone, making it the fastest contract in history. Additionally, we are already considering more than $800 million in XRP ETFs based on futures. Given that Nate Ghiroshi essentially lives and breathes ETF analysis every single day, I genuinely believe that many are sleeping on the demand that is coming for spot XRP ETFs. I also give him a lot of credit for delving deeply into this topic. The problem is that, in my opinion, practically everyone is now undervaluing XRP. XRP's incredible performance this year isn't even being given the respect it deserves. Gains of 400% or more are at stake here. Beyond that, though, I believe they're completely ignoring what XRP is going to do to these charts in the future. I honestly don't believe people realize what's going to happen to XRP once these ETFs truly drop in the US, especially when you consider the CME group scenario and all the momentum that these ETFs are gaining. For XRP holders and the price action itself, we're looking at what is going to be an extremely amazing time. Can you even image what will happen when all these enormous spot ETFs launch in the United States, given the volume and general hunger we're already seeing from the CME group alone? Here we're talking about well-known companies that are introducing these goods. Because of the demand and volume spike, we will physically see this colossal tsunami smash into XRP, and this is going to be crazy. But take a look at this. Additionally, we have this Cointelegraph piece regarding the CME group predicament. In fact, they posted this themselves. Get this. Gimme Group, Ethereum, XRP, and Solana reach significant milestones, while open interest in cryptocurrency futures soars. On the basis of these futures contracts alone, we anticipate that open interest in XRP and Solana may surpass $1 billion. At $16 billion and $10.5 billion respectively, Bitcoin and Ethereum are doing well in the meantime. Seeing this thing is simply amazing. Here's the worst part though. In just 3 months, XRP surpassed that $1 billion milestone. Everyone is genuinely ignoring how bullish XRP is right now, I'm telling you. Here's the crazy part. Nowadays, almost everyone is aware of XRP, regardless of whether they are avid cryptocurrency users or merely interested bystanders. In our entire space, XRP is essentially turning into this blue chip centerpiece project. In my opinion, it has always been that way, but it seems like the rest of the world is just now realizing this as well.